Welcome back to another episode of the KJP Show. My name is Kurosh. I'm your host, and what we do on the show is celebrate and elevate indie games. Today, we're talking about a game called Dreadhunter and why you should check it out based on my impressions. Dreadhunter, right now in early access, is a game by Trickster Arts Studio. It's an indie studio developing this game, and from what I can tell based on my experience, it kind of takes a lot of what I enjoy and what I see out of Doom and Diablo. I use those as like very recognizable kind of IP and properties and ways they operate. The elements where I see from Doom or that it's trying to do in this game is very kind of moment to moment. It's the cyber futuristic hellish landscape where you're going across various planets and moons and stuff and going into these like labs and space stations facilities, just going through types of demons and aliens and sorts of things. The Diablo reference and the comparisons I make there are largely due to how it looks and feels. It is it's an isometric style game with some RPG elements to it, with skill trees that you can upgrade as you go along through the game, and you make progress and you update and you do all sorts of things of where you want to update your melees, you want to update your shooting, various other things. And I feel like the marriage of these two, to me at least, from my impressions of the early access that I've been given an opportunity to try, it's very interesting. I like it a lot. It's definitely a space that I'm seeing a couple of different games try their hand at, and I like what Dreadhunter is doing with it. It when you go into those rooms, it kind of has that Doom-esque-ness to it, where you enter, it's like kind of free roaming, and then once you enter a combat stage, music cranks up. Kinetic moments, you amp up, you feel it, and then things mellow out, you get a chance to like collect yourself. But then if it's building the momentum and it wants to amp up even further, it keeps the pace going. It doesn't let you cool down, it keeps you kind of moving. And I like that pacing. I think I've seen a lot of these, the other ones that I've seen do this are very much like just endless wave until it's all done, and it's just like the set space. I like that it's kind of having you navigate through these levels in that Doom Diablo style, where it's like you're going down a pathway, you reach an end kind of arena stage, and then you've completed that mission or run or whatever, what have you. In regards to how it feels, this is how it looks and how it plays, but how it feels with those mechanics in mind, I very much found that it was pretty seamless. I got a chance to do this via Steam Deck, and it operated pretty well. I think you'll have just as good an experience in any which way you like to play it. It doesn't require too much in terms of inputs. You have your melee, you have your primary weapon, you have your secondary weapon, and then you're off to the races. You get variety in equipments that you can swap out and upgrade as you go and you progress and you advance, which I like. But that basic combat flow of like you melee to get, it has you meleeing in order to get health and ammo. So that replenishes your salvo of these weapons. So you might choose how to approach different encounters differently, where you're gliding and skating around, kiting these enemies while you're trying to take down the big ones by like using your melee to accrue the ammo you need from the smaller ones. So given that Dreadhunter's in early access, I think it's got a solid foundation for an early access space. What I'd like to see more of it is just lean harder into these things. The areas where I would love to see something more from is the boss encounters. From the few I've encountered, it didn't offer too much variety it just seemed like a bigger version of the existing creatures that you were facing, which is fine, but I think it would really make it stand out if you had very much more unique encounters in those boss fights. Maybe they already have that in store, but it's something I'd want to see as it continues to develop. I love the aspects that kind of have you coming back for multiple runs, which is the skill trees and the equipment slots. That offers a lot of variety to me, and I want to see different play styles. I want to see someone like to be much more up close and run and gun versus someone who likes to do a different play style that might be further back or spray and pray or whatever. I think that will give some variety, some unique qualities to kind of infuse your own personal play styles to these sorts of games. I think that's where it could lean more in the Diablo way for me, of like you choose a build, as opposed to the Doom side where it's very much like, this feels good, we're offering this, and this is like, choose from these weapons and go. I think that balance between those two things will kind of dictate how it goes forward, and what it decides to do on its own, and if there's other elements that I haven't even had a chance to explore yet. I would love another thing from it that I would love to see is maybe a boss rush mode, or maybe like a time mode. I think some of those add some variety to what you see. But as a base game in early access right now from an indie studio, I love what Trickstar Arts Studio is doing. I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully this was a good early preview of that, and I hope you enjoyed it. This was Dreadhunter by Trickstar Arts Studio. And again, I appreciate the time you've given me. Thank you for checking this video out, and for another episode of the KJP Show. As always, I've been your host, Kurosh, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.